Joshua Marine was once quoted as saying that challenges are what make life interesting. Now, before I complete it for a second, so many people look at the challenges of life, those obstacles, they're negative, they're overwhelming, they're beating them down, or they're depressing. Here was his perspective. Challenges are what make life interesting. Overcoming them is what makes life meaningful. And meaningful lives are what we're all seeking. Arthur C. Clarke, the famed science fiction novelist, though, went on to say, the only way to find the limits of the possible is to go beyond them, into the impossible. As you face those impossibilities that you are certain are so, go boldly at them and leap daringly into them, because that's the only way you'll achieve all that you deserve to achieve and those you love the most deserve to achieve. This next mentor is exceptional. Truly, no doubt about it, a balanced life expert. An author, speaker, entrepreneur, multi-million-dollar network marketing earner and leader. She is a coach, and most importantly, she's a mom. She has earned over $11 million in her network marketing career and has helped numerous people earn 6- and 7-figure incomes. She has been highlighted in numerous print publications, internationally in television broadcasts, taking her teachings and mentoring and sharing to others. But she'll tell you, most importantly, she's a mother of 5, age 6 to 22. Just imagine what that takes to keep up. Absolutely. In fact, she has now, this is her 3rd mentoring opportunity in only 6 here at the 6th annual GoPro Recruiting Mastery. But she's also someone who has had to face those challenges and make life meaningful by overcoming them. With serious health challenges, she has gone on now. She has competed in 5 Boston marathons, and she is placed in the top 10 of the pro division at the Malaysian Ironman Triathlon. This is someone who knows what it is to compete all out and give it everything you have. Now, before we bring her to the stage, she's brought a video, a simple 1-minute introduction. And so we're going to roll that here in just a second. And at the end of that, let's be on our feet and bring her to the stage the right way. Guys, roll video.
Started getting numb, my legs started getting numb, I was tired, and sure enough, January 13th, I got diagnosed with progressive MS. I was 27 years old, I'm 42 right now. The doctor said to me, you're gonna be in a wheelchair in 10 years and you're gonna be dead in 20. And I was devastated. 3 days later, my marriage fell apart. I went bankrupt, I lost my health club, and I ended up homeless.
Whatever it is that you're going through, don't let it be a destination. It's just a vista, a stopping point, but you can overcome it. And take it from me, someone who has.
If showing up and wanting it were enough, we would all be successful. And here's what else I know. About 90% of you aren't going to be successful. I want you to be, but you're not going to be, because you're going to quit.
Ladies and gentlemen, get on your feet. Bring to the GoPro stage, Miss Suzanne Fry. Crush them. They are all yours. Ho!
Yes! GoPro! Turn the person on your left and your right. Say, give them a high five. Say, you are awesome! It is such a deep honor to be here with all of you, and I'm sending a lot of love to everyone live streaming at home. If everyone could just wave to everyone at home, send them some love all over the world. Mwah. So I have a question. How many of you are ready, and I mean really ready, to take it to the next level? How many of you are ready to make the rest of this year the best of your year? If you are, make some noise! Yeah. And how many of you are really committed to doing your 90-day game plan? And in order to do that, you're going to have to do about 50 to 60 presentations, make 90 to 100 calls. You're going to have to show up when you don't feel like it. You're going to have to be that person that you don't even know exists yet. And some of you are going to leave here, you're going to be so excited, you're going to be so committed, you're like, yes, I'm going to go do it. And then it's going to come time for that first presentation, and everyone do this, stop writing just for a minute. Put one hand out like this, and one hand up like this. And you're going to be like, get started with me, but don't get started with me. And you're going to be praying to God that person cancels because you're so nervous about doing your presentation. If you can relate to that, just nod, yes. I've been there myself. So this year, what I came to do was give you a gift. My objective in our time together is to teach you a formula from NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming, and the art of persuasion. How many of you are familiar with NLP? So NLP is something that really changes your neurology. It changes how people respond to you. And you can go and take lengthy workshops, and for 5 years I trained with an NLP master trainer. And in that time, one of the most powerful things he taught me was what I'm about to train all of you on today. You know, when you think about it, in our profession, there are hundreds of millions of people yet who haven't joined. And we can never have a lack mentality. And I'll tell you personally, some of the best people I've ever mentored have come from presentations I've done where, guess what? They had no network marketing experience, but they were just so moved by what they heard. They were ready to get started. And we're from different companies, but we're from one family. And my goal for all of us is that we leave here and bring millions of people into this amazing, amazing culture of network marketing. If you can get excited about that, let's make some noise. I'm excited about that. So I want to share a little bit about my journey, if I may. And this picture was taken in 2002. And that's my son, AJ. He was born 6 pounds, 7 ounces. He was just a wee little guy. And there Chris and I were with this new baby. I was 2 years into a multiple sclerosis diagnosis, and my health was failing. A lot of times I'd have trouble even speaking and enunciating words. How many of you know someone who's got MS? Yeah. And mine was very progressive. And in fact, when the doctor diagnosed me on January 13th, 2 years prior, he showed me the film of my brain. And it looked like a fishbowl full of fish, just full of lesions. And he said, Susan, in 10 years, you're going to be in a wheelchair. And in 20 years, you're going to be dead. I was 27 at the time. So here I was, 2 years later, with my amazing husband, Chris, and a brand new baby. My doctor had told me I shouldn't have more children, but she said, if you're gonna do it now. The flare-ups were coming every 3 weeks, and a lot of the time I was just laying on the sofa. I was depressed, I was hopeless, and I thought, God, this isn't the life I signed up for. So when you give birth, it's a time of joy, but it was also a time of sadness, because the thoughts that went through my head were, I might never be able to run with my son. I might never be able to be that soccer mom who's on the field running and going, go AJ, go. And at that time, a friend of mine showed up at my house, and she brought me this bag of baby clothes. And she also brought me a box. She said, Susan, I brought you some clothes for AJ. I said, great, because Chris and I were struggling financially at the time. And she said, and I also signed you up in a new business. Now, I love compliance, and if anyone is here in an auditing capacity from the FTC, we all know that's illegal to do, okay? But she had done that, and she said, welcome to your business. So a couple weeks later, she said, Susan, I need you to go and do the presentation. And it was at a chiropractor's office. She said, Susan, you're a health practitioner. My background is as a nutritional consultant. I was a professor of nutrition in Canada. And she said, you're going to do the whole presentation. And my heart was like, da, 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 da. But I prepared and I researched. And about that product, I knew everything about it. There might have been 200 ingredients. I knew at least 100 clinical studies about every single one. And I made notes and I rehearsed. And because it was tough to speak, I practiced in the mirror over and over and over again. How many of you have ever prepared really hard for a presentation? And you prepared so hard, you were like, I'm gonna nail it. So off I go with my baby, because I'm still nursing, and a change of shirts. Girls, you know what I'm talking about. And I head off to do this presentation. And I'm sweating, and I'm like, okay, Lord, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. And I get up, do the presentation. I thought, I just nailed that. This woman comes up to me afterwards, and she says this, that was the worst presentation I have ever seen. You should never present again, and you should quit network marketing. So you're probably wondering how I ended up on this stage. Well, the first thought that went through my mind was this. That was me at 20, 200 pounds. I was no self-esteem. And anytime we're faced with criticism, doesn't that always take you back to that lowest point in your life where you felt like a big loser, right? So in my head, I'm like, loser, I should quit network marketing. Maybe this isn't for me. You know, go back to school, become a homeopathic doctor, figure out life. I don't know. I don't know if I can make it. So how did I go from that to this? I am receiving that applause, but what I want is to see you up on this stage so I can be in the audience, and that's what I'm here to teach you. Go ahead and say this with me. In the face of criticism, we have two choices. Give up or get better. I want you to take a picture of that right now with your phone. You're not supposed to be on your phone, but you are. It's okay. And the decision we make is the life we live, right? So I made a decision that I would get better. And sometimes we have to be willing to be bad enough, long enough to get good. And some of you could really crush this business, but you're so worried and you're a perfectionist and you don't want to put yourself out there and you don't want to face the criticism because it takes you back to that pimply teenager or that overweight 20-year-old or that person who was rejected at the high school dance. I married the boy who rejected me in high school, so it's all good. It does come around, right? And the woman who criticized me, she's probably watching right now, I love her. She ended up in my organization. It's all good. As the late Jim Rohn used to say, I had the privilege of sharing the stage with Jim the last time he spoke live in Dallas. He used to say this, sometimes it just feels good to drive your car over and over again on someone else's lawn. And success is the best revenge. So I'm going to give this to you in 5 simple steps. So with NLP, you want to create an environment of inclusion. You need to be relatable. And so the first step is the universal problem, okay? So let's say and just for the sake of just being very clear, as I go through this training with you, I'm gonna use examples from different types of companies, okay? Does that help you? All right, so let's say I'm in a company and we have cards. So the universal problem is this. You forget people's birthdays. You forget people's anniversaries. You genuinely care about people and you want to connect, but here's the problem. You forget, it's not convenient to go to the post office, and people are going to be nodding because they can relate. Yes? Does that make sense? If I'm in a makeup company, I might say something like this. Women are spending a fortune on makeup, and half the stuff they buy doesn't even look good. They don't know how to put it on. You know, they'll go to a big chain store that's named after a mythical goddess and spend $400. That's actually what I did coming here. Never mind. Sorry to digress. So, they'll do that and they don't know, right? That could be a problem. If you're in weight loss, people go on diets. They're going on diets. There's a 98% failure rate, and a lot of the diets don't work. Are you guys with me? There's a universal problem, step number 1. And if you're here with a team of people from your company, I'm going to encourage you over the break to work on this. What are the universal problems that people can relate to? Okay? The next step, other solutions that do not work. Other solutions that do not work. Put your hand on your heart slightly on your left, and repeat after me. I am a network marketing professional. I do not need to disparage another person or another person's company. So help me God. You just made that to your maker, and I want you to hold it, because you don't need to go after other people. You don't need to cut up companies. You don't need to put people down. Never do that. It just makes you look bad. And I promise you, if you start doing that stuff, other people will do it to you. It's a very, very small industry. So other solutions that don't work. So going back to the card company. Well, okay, you can write everything down in your book, but life happens, you forget it. You can send e-cards, but 87% of emails go unopened, right? So you want to talk about that, but not put that company or put another thing down. Does that make sense? If you're in a makeup company, you can say something like this. You can go and you can spend a lot of money on different makeup, but it's not necessarily natural. It might have a lot of toxins in it. If you're in weight loss or in, say, healthy water, you can say something like this. You could go out and spend a lot of money on something that doesn't necessarily work. There are a lot of different solutions out there. People can relate to that. And in this formula that I'm teaching you, you can do it on a 3-way call. You can do it in a face-to-face presentation. You can do it in an in-home presentation. You can do it in front of a live audience. And in fact, I started the presentation with you in this formula. Why is our solution better? Again, never putting anyone down. And it's very important in our profession that we in this room, the thousands of people that are here, the people watching, that we are the gold standard of professionalism. All right? So we do not, in this case, we never, ever, we always want to be compliant. We never want to use, again, specific names of other things that don't work. But why is our solution better? Here's what makes us different. We have a money-back guarantee if that's what you have. We make it simple. We provide training and support and coaching. In fact, if you don't get results, you're going to get your money back. Does that make sense? This is also part of a trial close. You're watching how this person is observing your body language. Why is our solution better? And I want you to do this right now. With your company, I want you to write down, what is the reason your solution is better than the common things that are out there? Maybe it's easy. Maybe you have a nutrition program. It's super easy. Maybe your cosmetics are non-toxic. Maybe you have a water program, and with your water, you know that it is so much purer than tap water, whatever it is for you. We have so many great companies in this room. Why is our solution better? What makes me qualified? This is where you share your story. This is called earning the right, ETR. What makes me qualified? Well, for years, I was that person who spent a fortune on makeup. And you know what? I didn't realize I was putting toxins into my body. Or for years, I was that person with the best intentions, had a business and wanted to stay connected with people, but I forgot the birthdays, I forgot the anniversaries, I forgot to check in. Or for years, I was that person that struggled with my health. I was that person that struggled with my weight. I was that person who thought I was doing everything right, but I wasn't feeling good. Does this make sense, guys? Yeah. So what makes me qualified? You don't have to be an expert. You have to have a story. And for some of you, for that next level of success, it's going to be re-experiencing the product you have. and redoing it as if you were brand new. What is the evidence? Now, this is a two-part thing. You've got to provide evidence. So the first type of evidence is anecdotal. This is a story. And so I might say something like this. One of my clients, he was that person, he was growing a company, and he wanted to stay connected, and he actually got involved with our program and started communicating with his clients, and his sales are up 15%. He was making so much more money, he's able to hire more people. Or you might say something like this. My friend, she got involved with this program, and please don't tell the big money stories, because that's, as Eric was saying, that's the handful of people. You might say something like this. My friend got started last year, and she was able to send her kids to summer camp and not go into debt because of our program. Does that sound good? Or my friend was able to buy their snow tires, especially if you're from Canada or Minnesota. They was able to buy, those things are expensive. It was able to buy their snow tires. Or my friend was able to take their family to Disney. The stories have to be relatable. What is giving our profession a bad name is the Mercedes in the mansions kind of mentality, okay? We need to keep it real. Put your hand on your heart again, say, I commit to keeping it real. And the next type of evidence, you can go either way. If you have scientific evidence, or if you have kind of data-driven evidence, so people who use our program, they increase sales by 15%, or people who use our program release XYZ number of pounds, or whatever it is for you, and then you throw that in, only if the evidence is real. This is going to help you create compliant presentations. It is going to help you have an amazing formula. And what happens when you learn something new? What happens? Just put up your hand, I'll point to you. What happens anytime you learn something new? Is it easy to do it? No. Is it going to take practice? Yes. This formula is really called the art of persuasion. The top trainers in the world use it, and they will sell you $100,000 packages that you can't afford, and they don't want you to know how to do it. So when I came here this year, I thought, what gift can I give all of my sisters and brothers in the profession? I can give them this gift, so you can go out and be compliant. You can go out and grow your business, and you can go do those 60 presentations, because you're like asleep and your alarm goes off, you're like, oh, I've got to do a webinar in Australia right now, but I don't have to think about it because I have the steps to do this, and you can do it in your sleep, in your sleep, in your sleep. Chris and I were driving down Highway 401. Anyone from Ontario in the house? So we're driving down Highway 401, and I'm doing back-to-back calls like this. Go, 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 go. And he's like, are you serious? You keep saying the same thing over and over and over again. And in between calls, I was dialing and talking to him, and I'm like, yeah, baby, and this is gonna make us a lot of money. And it's a formula. How many of you can get excited having a formula? How many of you know that it will give you more confidence? Yes. And so one of the things I'm gonna ask you to do, because I wanted to come and bring you something that was real and tangible for your toolbox, I want you to physically write out your next presentation. I want you to write it out. While you're here in Las Vegas, or if you're at home, meet with some people online, and I want you to go through the presentation, because if you're really gonna do a 90-day game plan, you are gonna be presenting some days 10, 15 times a day. And someone asked me, they said, well, Susan, how many presentations a day do you do? And I said, for me, I asked myself a different question. How many people can I get in front of today? Because when you know this formula, whether it's Zoom meeting, whether it's webinars, you're meeting with someone for lunch to do a presentation, tell them, don't come alone. You want more people there. When you have this formula, you have great company tools, but let's say you forget the tools or the website isn't working or whatever, you can just bang this out. And I will share with you this. Prior to using this formula in my presentations, my closing rate for, say, a large audience in an opportunity meeting was about 1 out of 3, 1 out of 4. This formula changed it to a 90% enrollment rate within the first 48 hours. And I could have come here and not trained you guys on this, but I want all of you to have that level of enrollment. Yes? Does that sound good? If you could get excited about 90%, make some noise. But it is gonna take practice. It is gonna take practice. And so just embrace it. It'll take you about 20 to 30 presentations to really get it and dial it in. And I'm not saying you are gonna get 90%. That's what happened for me, but it could happen for you too. I wanna finish with this. So we have, as you heard, 5 children. And some of you came up to me the last day and just said, would you finish like you always do? And I wasn't gonna do it, but I'm doing it for those few people who asked me to do this. Every night, just put everything down. Every night before my kids go to bed, I say the same thing to them, and I will say it to all of you. You have greatness inside you. You can be, do, and have anything you dream. And I say to them, what are you? And they say, I'm a winner. And then I say, what's your verse? And they say, he who is within me is greater than he who is in the world. God bless all of you. Let's elevate the profession. I love you guys.
Ladies and gentlemen.